Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a gun and customization for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode. Today's top comment comes from TommyBoy150, who says the spam loadout. We'll be using the MG15 suppressive for our primary weapon for spamming those bullets. This is a machine gun for the support class. Sidearm will be the MLE 1903 for spamming bullets, grenade crossbow for spamming the grenades, ammo crate so that we can resupply grenades and ammunition, mini grenades because we get 2 of those and we can spam those, and then the combat knife, which attacks pretty darn fast so you can kind of spam melee. Now I'm sure many of you have been killed by every sort of grenade and spammy tactic in this game more times than you would like to remember, but how does playing a class that excels in spammy tactics actually play out? The MG15 is a great spammer weapon because it's got a 200 round magazine. The reload isn't particularly long, so you always have a lot of ammunition to shoot off at your opponents. Of course, the downside is that this weapon doesn't necessarily do a lot of damage at any range, really. So most firefights where you're in a stand-up firefight against somebody who's got a good weapon for their range, you're probably going to lose those. The MG15 does 23 maximum damage in close quarters, and it drops off to around 17.5 at range, which isn't terribly bad at range. In fact, this weapon's going to be a bit more effective at range than it is in close quarters, generally speaking. The downside is that it's only got a 500 round per minute rate of fire. So even though you've got a huge magazine capacity and you can deal with many opponents, if any of those opponents are good, accurate, and they fire back, then it's going to be tricky. So you have to set yourself up in situations where you're being a bit campy so that you can spam that fire. Now, of course, the machine guns have very good suppressive effects, so if you are taking fire from, say, a long-range sniper or even a medic class, firing in their direction from medium or long range will suppress them and make their shots very inaccurate, giving you the chance to either win the firefight or even escape. And in theory, this is supposed to give the support class a bit of an edge in combat, though it doesn't always work, and sometimes snipers can shoot through it, or the medic class can shoot through it and kill you anyway. Now, out of the 3 variants for the MG15NA, we have the low weight variant, we have the storm variant, and we have the suppressive variant. We're using the suppressive in this video. Obviously, we do have the optic on there, which I am not a fan of. I think this weapon, generally speaking, isn't accurate enough to make use of the optic unless you deploy the bipod on a window ledge or a wall, or you go prone, in which case the optic becomes more usable. But a lot of times you're going to run into characters that are in close quarters, they're moving quickly, the optic can be difficult to track enemies with, and I kind of prefer some of the iron sights or the anti-aircraft sights that you can equip on the other variants. Both the low weight and storm variant are good. I think generally speaking, I prefer the storm variant as it's supposed to be geared a bit more towards running around and gunning with the machine gun, which is definitely more my play style as opposed to posting up with a bipod on a ledge. Granted, the bipod does make the weapon very accurate and it allows you to take out people at medium and longer range pretty quickly, but then again, I just don't like sitting still because I play so much recon or scout class rather, and I just know how easy it is to kill a bipoded support player. It's basically a free kill when you're playing the sniper class. And to make bipoded gameplay even trickier, there's tons and tons of tracer effects on the shots from the machine gun. So once you start laying down fire, the enemy team is going to figure out your location very quickly. So if you're just sitting there in one location, you become an easy target for just about any weapon. As soon as somebody knows where you are, they have the ability to sneak up on you, throw a grenade on you, hit you with a tank from long range, whatever it is, you're an easy target. So just sitting around with a bipod, again, isn't really my style, but I do recognize the benefits of quickly deploying it, and that has been made a lot easier in Battlefield 1. It's just running up to a ledge. You don't have to hit a button now to deploy the bipod. It'll auto deploy on ledges for you. It's very quick, very easy, and that is probably one of the best upgrades that the bipod has seen since previous games. Now, as far as the grenade launcher crossbow goes, I've already done a review video on this gadget. It's good, especially if you like grenade spamming. It's great on some of the more infantry intensive maps. Not quite as much on the wide open maps, but you'll see me use it at range here fairly effectively, but a lot of that is up to chance or just really practicing with it a lot to figure out how to range those weapons effectively. You see me scanning the top of that dune there. I put a grenade out there quickly, and that went just over the top of the dune to get a kill. Here I know that there's a long range field gun way out there, and I just try my luck with the grenade launcher crossbow, fire it all the way out there, just kind of guesstimating where I have to aim it, but I get the field gun, and that guy was killing a lot of us as we were trying to push up to that last point there. So it can be very useful once you get really good with it. Very skill-based weapon, and then in infantry intensive maps you can just spam that into corridors, and it's just like having 3 frag grenades. Very, very powerful. Now when it comes to the mini grenades that I'm using with this loadout, I'm not as big of a fan. I prefer grenades that can kill with 1 shot on a player that has full health. And in addition to that, the mini grenades get thrown really, really far, and it just takes a little while to get used to them. So a lot of your throws are going to go way further than you initially intended, unless there's like a backdrop or a wall or something there. Then they'll hit that and kind of bounce down, but they're just a little bit tricky to do and don't do enough damage for my taste. I understand the point of the loadout is to be spammy, and having 2 grenades from the grenade crossbow and 2 mini grenades is very, very grenade spammy, but I didn't get a lot of kills with the mini grenades. Now here we are in an operations game mode, and I'm on the attacking team, and this is a hard loadout to attack with until you get into close quarters, and then you can kind of use the grenade spam to clear people out. But as you can see, as soon as we get to any sort of open ground, my grenade crossbow and my grenades in general become less valuable. Also, my primary weapon is not going to be that great. The primary weapon is best when used at medium or further ranges, and I don't have to deal with too many sniper threats at that point. So it's an odd weapon. It's okay in close quarters, but any assault class is going to absolutely obliterate you. A good medic will easily be able to take you out. Plenty of classes can handle a support class in close quarters, no problem. So assaulting the points themselves, I kind of shoot my grenades in there and then kind of hope that my teammates will go in and do most of the work for me. And it can be really tough and frustrating if your teammates aren't being aggressive. And I often find just with my own playstyle, I'm like the first guy in there, or I'm like leading the charge. And when I don't, I feel like the team's playing too slow, not aggressive enough, not going for the points. So I do get frustrated when I play a class like this that is forced to sort of stay back as I am right now and providing suppressive fire and supporting fire. It can be fun at times, but I get really bored sitting back here and going, okay, I took out a bunch of guys, now you guys do the rest of the work. I want to be the guy doing the work. But that's just me personally, and if you like that style of play, then I could see how a bipoded LMG might really suit you. Now as for sidearms, I never really used mine much. You don't have a lot of opportunity when you have a 200 round magazine. If you survive through those first 200 rounds, then usually you can get to a place to reload that magazine pretty safely. So there's not a lot of reason to switch to your sidearm unless you overheat the gun. And here you'll actually see me use it a little bit. I've got my gas mask on because there are enemy teams throwing gas grenades. The hipfire on this weapon is not bad for close quarters if your opponent is not ready for you, and I'm able to take out quite a few guys without needing to reload. Then I've got like a sniper at sort of medium range there, so I switched to the sidearm to try and get more accurate hipfire. So that is a situation in which it can be used a bit better, is when the smoke comes in and you need to shoot somebody at more medium range. Otherwise, the hipfire accuracy on the machine gun is still pretty good, and so you can use it in a gas mask situation if somebody's really close to you. Now you can see in this situation here where the optic can be a little bit confusing for dealing with close range targets, and this specifically is where I would really prefer having the iron sight variant of this weapon. And I gotta say, it's hard for me to play the support class without using the BAR. It's just such a fun light machine gun. Totally goes against the theme of this loadout. It's not spammy, it's got a small 20 round magazine. And frankly, the spam concept for this doesn't really work out for me. I think it works better for maybe novice players who aren't expecting to survive as long, or can benefit the team more by suppressing the enemies. If you don't have great accuracy, suppression is still something that you can do. But I think once you get better at the game, you understand that shooting a lot of rounds and telegraphing your position to the enemies is not necessarily a great idea. It'll get you killed a lot faster. And the MG15 is okay, but once you get more accurate, you can aim for the head. There's other weapons out there that are going to get you more kills and more precise kills and quicker kills, more importantly. Anyway, that wraps it up for this spammy loadout. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments down below for next week's episode, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.